Yesterday in writing, you were supposed to come up with your two people, so your famous African American person and your president of the United States, who you feel had a big impact on society or the world, and think about what ties them together. Now, what you're doing is thinking about the kinds of questions that are going to help guide your research. It's no longer good enough to just write a biography where you say the person was born in September of 1979, they lived in Terre Haute, they have a husband named Jonathan, they have three dogs, she went to IU and became a teacher. Those kinds of things aren't enough. You need to start thinking about the bigger questions. You can include those things because those facts, those small Googleable facts, like the chart on this page, on the Canvas page that tells you about Google versus non-Googleable, but those are important to include so that people understand the context. It would be important to understand when Benjamin Franklin was alive in order to understand why it was important that he discovered electricity. So you do need to provide context with those basic facts, but your basic facts don't guide your research anymore. So I want you to copy this into your notebook. If you don't have your notebook, you can do it on paper. But you're trying to figure out what kinds of questions you want to come up with. So, reasons to ask questions. If you're curious about something, you should ask it. If you want to predict what might happen, you should ask it. If you want to find connections between those two people, the world, a location, or yourself, that's a good time to ask a question. If you want to make something more clear, so if something is confusing, you want to explain, for example, that Grover Cleveland was president and then he lost the election and then he was president again, that might help people understand his presidency. So knowing the years that he was president would be important. And then the last one, if you're trying to support your claim. So if you're trying to say, hey, this is, excuse me, this is important, here are some examples of why this person is a hero or a leader, then you would want to ask those questions. So today, I would challenge you in your notebook or on a piece of paper to start coming up with questions to ask about both of your people. Try to think of questions that aren't specific to just one or the other. To begin, think about questions that have to do with both. Later, we can start thinking about specific questions that are about just that one person. So today what I want you to do is to list all the questions you can think of that you'd like to know about both people. You can do that in your notebook. If you want to open a Google Doc, you can. You don't need to send it to me. You just need to hang on to it for when we meet again.